Well, hey everybody. So hope everyone had a great Monday
hear you,
and
Jonathan. I
good
know
weekend.
you're saying something really clever right now, but we don't hear you.
Hear you.
Well, that's not good.
I agree.
You can hear me?
I can hear
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
I
sounds
can
like
hear
an
you.
issue on Alan's end. That doesn't surprise us, does it? So anyway, though, we are we're glad to be here. As just a reminder, today's virtual workshop is going to be specifically about the MLK, the rec complex, and just kind of an update on where we are with that and the staffing plan, and also in a very exciting manner, we're happy to announce to you all and to introduce the new MLK rec manager that we've hired, Mr. Javian Elliott, who is over here to Keith's left. A local hometown guy who left and after playing college at the football at the college level and also the professional levels back home to serve his community. So, Javen, I'm going to turn it over to you, sir, and just give you a chance to introduce yourself. And this is our mayor and the four commissioners. We have Mayor Branch and then Commissioner Lucas, Granger, Street, and Hughes. And then just give them a few moments, opportunity to ask some questions as well. And this is obviously being streamed live and it's recorded and published. And just so y'all know, in a few minutes, Kristen will be sending out a press statement on this as well. Very excited, but just wanted y'all to kind of get the first opportunity as elected officials to get to meet and hear from Javian. So, Javian, all yours, sir.
Yeah, extremely grateful for the opportunity. My name is Javian Elliott, born and raised here. Panama City, Florida. I'm looking forward to serving our community. I know how much having a recreation center means to our community. I grew up in the Boys and Girls Club, and it made a tremendous impact on my life being able to develop. And that's something that I really want to implement in our city, developing recreationally as well as educationally. And I'm just here to serve.
So, any questions for Javian? But he didn't state it, but he played for Florida State and then Tampa Bay and then Charlotte.
No.
So, yep. So, and then also with the Canadian Football League a little bit as well. So, Mayor, Commissioner, any questions?
I don't have questions. Certainly welcome you home and thank you for coming to work with the youth in Glenwood and neighboring communities, as well as, anyone in Bay County who's going to come. We have put together a physical structure that is awesome. And thank you for bringing your talent as we open it to the community. And so welcome home.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Excited to have you. Go Knowles. Where did you go to school while you were here?
Yeah, I went to Rutherford High School.
Go Rams.
You're
Yeah.
Welcome
Great.
back home and roll tide.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah, we're going to mute that, Commissioner. So we'll have Kristen go back and clip that part of the video. No, I'm just kidding. We're just kidding, Nevin. We're not going to hide any part of the video. So, after the budget hearing, we realized that we, maybe didn't do a most complete job of communicating our vision and kind of the plan for the MLK rec complex or campus and what that was going to look like. We did have plans here in the final, 2 or 3 months to bring on an employee and kind of help Keith, who's been overseeing the, kind of the day-to-day work down there at the MLK rec campus on all the work that's happening. And so he's got a great partner in this now. And as we look to, kind of prepare to accept the keys, from what I understand, on or about November 7th is the plan to get the keys to the door and then immediately transition into, bringing that entire campus online. Keith and his team, working with the city manager's office, to put together a presentation to share with the commission this evening and kind of talk about, the plan for it, the transition, ensuring that we begin with a great level of intentionality and just roll right into this huge and great facility and investment that the city has made for generations to enjoy. So that being said, Keith, we'll jump into it if you're ready, sir.
I'm ready.
All right, let me share my screen. All right, make sure I actively shared it. Nope, share. Click it. How many times you have to click it? All right. Let me just shrink that. That is too. All right, Mr. Mefford.
Okay, welcome, guys. Thank you for this opportunity. I first want to just thank my staff for how hard they've worked since the moment we've had our budget workshop to help prepare this slideshow that we're going to put together for you guys, this presentation tonight, and city manager's office for going through this over and over with us to make sure that we were prepared for tonight's meeting. So thank you guys for the support. So, all right. So first and foremost, one of the things you've heard City Manager Jonathan talk about just here a few minutes ago was, rather than calling this much like the Martin Theater, there was everyone kept calling it the Martin Theater. Well, it's 3 buildings. So we started to call that the complex. So much in the same regards, I want to try to start branding this facility rather than just the MLK Rec Center, the MLK Rec Campus, because it's much greater than just a rec center. I mean, what this provides for the community, the space that it puts out there is much larger. And so I think it deserves that. And so we're trying to brand ourselves. You'll hear me. I'll probably make mistakes yet tonight, but we are intentionally trying to move that forward and look at it more of a bigger picture. And so, and with all the education opportunities, we thought that's the way we would go. So I wanted to lead with that. This, as you will see, why we want to call it a campus is because when you look at this footprint, it's much larger than just a gymnasium and a community center. You got the outdoor basketball courts and the play courts and the playgrounds and extensive parking, the multi-purpose field that could be used for football or soccer or anything that you'd like. But it takes up probably 3/4 of this city block. We eliminated a complete street with 14th Court. And so we just wanted to really share that. On this page, you'll also see the artwork that we kind of put into place. We wanted you to kind of have a location understanding geographically where these things are located. And you'll see in your right-hand corner, the breast and the tree and the Sankofa bird, just a really beautiful art sculpture that we've got that'll be about 12 to 15 feet tall. And that's the actual image that we've approved and is headed to production. So we have an artist, we have a partner, Mr. Gadsden, and local artist Ricky Steele, that's helped vet all that information. The words on that tree is stuff that came back, feedback from our community. We spent countless hours getting recordings and going through those and really trying to form a vision with Mr. Gadsden to be able to come up with this design. And we're all very excited to see this come to life. The other two, you'll see over here, the I Have a Dream and the MLK, that's one side and the other of the archway that'll come off of MLK Boulevard onto the campus. What we wanted to note there is you'll see the little asterisk is just make sure it is a mosaic tile. It is a rendering that we have a local artist that is working on that. And that's not the exact rendering yet. We're still tweaking that. But that will be a one-of-a-kind piece that will be going on that walkway. So, okay. Next, we wanted to give you kind of the lay of the land of the entire facility. So this is the indoor of the facility. And I'll give you a second to kind of look at this 30,000 square foot facility and some of the spaces in. I won't bore and read every single thing to you guys, but highlights, obviously you got the main facility, if you would, the gymnasium that's got the basketball and volleyball courts, the walking track around the outside. There are 14 goals hanging from this gym. So we can have up to 4 biddy ball courts, 2 high school regulation courts going cross court. It does have a dividing net. We have the capabilities to have a main court for volleyball and basketball. It's got a fitness room. It's got 2 study rooms. It's got an arts and culture room, fitness center, STEM lab. So we'll go through those a little bit more as we go along. But I just wanted to share this broader picture as you see this as you come in. So we'll start with this multi-purpose room. This is a very large space that is, you'll see that little black line that divides it kind of 1/3. That can open up into a main room that'll host over 200 plus individuals can come in there with tables and chairs. More if you just do chairs, obviously. But this also opens up into other spaces throughout the building and passes through well. It's one of the first places you come into on the right. So got a lot of multi-purpose functionality that we can use there. And I know JV and I are already, dreaming up of plans and ideas and programs that we can do in this facility. We have a STEM lab and a tech room that I believe is 28 seats and computers that offers up 3D printer, metal 3D printer, some laser cutting, engraving, a lot of educational opportunities here to just really step out in the community and do a lot of great things. We got a lot of great ideas that we're already bouncing back and forth. Partnerships, we're working close with FSU and Gulf Coast already. And Javian's got some other ideas. He's really geared towards this educational component as well. So we're excited to look at some of the partnerships in the near future. The reading and study rooms are adult and child. So we'll have an opportunity for a lot of different, whether it be read a book or some programs just to go in and study, do some tutoring, some quiet spaces on the campus to be able to get inside of and just, get on your work computer or do some different things that you might want to be doing at the location while your kids are playing or someone's working out. Some just good quiet spaces. We have the arts and crafts room that's also very nice. It's got a sink area in it that you can see some of these pictures that are some ideas that may or may not be in some of those spaces, but those are some of the ideas that we had when this was designed out. The recording and editing studio, we're excited about this space as well, although I have zero experience because I can't even sing Rubber Ducky, so I'm not interested in recording any kind of sound, but there's podcast opportunity. There's all kinds of opportunities that we have for this space that we're looking forward to. Javian's got some experience in recording some podcasts, so he is excited about this space as well. We worked with local gentleman by the name of Kirk Stewart that you guys are all familiar with. He helped put together this package that we ordered for this space, and we're excited to bring that online and work with our local adults and children alike. So the teaching kitchen, this is one thing that most of this design was already made prior to me. This was well before I got here. But one of the small changes and tweaks that we made, and we feel like it was a very positive change early in the process that we were able to do with a kind of a low level of cost. We decided originally on that multi-purpose room side of the wall of the teaching kitchen, that was a solid wall. So you only could enter into that door where the arrow's coming in. And we chose to make some changes there and do a rollout kitchen island. And we opened that wall up. So that entire wall will now open up with a glass door and accordion all the way open so that you can share that teaching kitchen space with the multi-purpose room. So you can have a much larger clientele and you can really open that space up for a larger group rather than that smaller space that you can see there currently. So excited about that change. The fitness center, this is kind of along the lines size-wise and our expectations with what you would see at a lot of your local hotels or hotels that you travel to in their little fitness rooms. Similar in size, similar concepts. We prepare to work closely with Javian to kind of come up with those units. He's obviously been in a fitness room a time or two, so we're looking forward to that. So we got our concessions. This is a full kitchen. So understanding this location, very large, very nice space. We currently are working with our city attorney. We are going to mirror the Ocala process where they had a RFP that they put out, and they actually turned theirs into a partnership with a cafe for a little bit more of a health concession stand, if you would. I mean, it's still going to have your popcorns and your nachos and cheese and some of the other places, but what you would expect at any other concession stand. But it's somebody that we'd like to find in our community that would come in and be a partner in that facility rather than us run concessions. As you may know, we currently do not operate any of our concessions at any of our locations. We have partnerships with the Oakland Terrace Men's Club. We have the Glenwood Rattlers that stepped up and do some of our other Sudeth Park and Daffin Park. And so it's not a process that I really want to get into the concession business. So we look to partner and kind of keep that off our city books. We have a first aid room that it is a small space, but it might seem at first this Band-Aid station or something that you might think of very simplistic. I envision that being a busy little center. And we're excited already to work with maybe some of our local hospitals and Gulf Coast State University to be able to come in and partner with us for a athletic trainers or sports medicine facility so that we can get some people to use that as kind of their lab and kind of work with us as a partner to grow that education component as a Band-Aid station / first aid and fitness center. So, I already said it. Well, anyway, I can't remember what I said already. You're athletic trainer.
Yeah.
So athletic trainer. I wanted to kind of encompass all of that. So the gymnasium, coming from Indiana, this is super exciting for me, right? I mean, I've spent some time in those before, so I'm really excited about what this space brings. All the regulation courts, the goals, each and every one of these goals are controlled by an iPad that we can raise and lower from 7 feet all the way up to 10 feet. And so, there was question on whether or not how many goals we were going to have, how many courts we were going to have. This is going to host a lot of folks, and we're very excited to have this facility to be able to share with our community. So the courts are going to be really nice. It's a hardwood floor. It's going to be very exciting for us to offer this in our community. So looking forward to this space. So as you guys know, one of the things that we put out here a while back in June and July, we for 2 months, we posted the surveys. We posted these different places on our park Facebook page, city page, the monthly newsletter that Kristen puts out. We put it out on our flyers at Glenwood Community Center, the local news stations. And we got some feedback from some folks regarding the hours, how often you'd like to attend, what are some of the things that you would want to see at the community center, at the rec center. And so we put this out, and these are the results of these on the next few slides so that you can kind of get an understanding of what folks were asking for in our community and what kind of things we'll look to try to hone in on and make available for our community members. So surprisingly and sadly to me, from coming from the Hoosier State, basketball kind of falls in the middle here. But really interesting. You got community events that kind of led the way on things that people are really looking forward to. So they're expecting us or partnerships or someone to really put on some community events and programs at this community for adults and children to be able to enjoy. So cooking classes are jumped up in there really high. And we're looking forward to that opportunity to provide those things for folks. The indoor walking track had high numbers, obviously, as well, which is also what drove us in the next slides to our hours that we put out there. So we put 3 different mock programs out there to say, what kind of hours would you look for? And so as we put this out, we had the biggest response that we got individually was the 94 hours that we kind of proposed originally, which offers some really early walking track hours. We figure that will really kind of be dedicated. It can be for anyone, but we really feel like the seniors, missing the mall walking track that they used to walk through the mall. Javian claims that he is one heck of a barista, so he's going to put together. Maybe I have lived that part.
There you go.
We plan to have coffee, and really open the doors and give some opportunities for the seniors to come in and shoot some free throws, walk around the track a little bit in peace and quiet, and just enjoy the space prior to everybody else getting up. So that hones in on the hours that we're really looking for. So it gives you kind of a one-page look at it. So I'll kind of let that sink in with you guys for a minute. But we anticipate this is the starting point. Again, we will see how that works, and we can adjust on the fly as we see fit. We know this is the first time for us running this facility exactly with the opportunities and programs that they have. And based on the feedback and information, this is what we came up with. And so we're excited to roll this out for our community. And we think this will provide an opportunity for everybody, young and old, to kind of enjoy. So now getting into the staffing a little bit, we were tasked to come back to the table. And I can't say enough about, some of the support that we got from other directors from that meeting that we had with you guys. I immediately got support on our first break when we left the budget workshop to getting ready to transition to the commission meeting. I had folks coming up to me, other directors, fellow directors, and coming up and saying, hey, we want you to know you got our support and we got your back. We'll help solve this together. You're not alone. No one's upset at you. We want to make this work. And so we had the support to get some different individuals throughout the city to be able to help support some of these positions. Currently, we're looking at dedicating 19 positions at the MLK Rec Center. And so the way we've done this is we have came on with 8 full-time staff and 11 part-time staff. And so if you look at this position, the way this is laid out currently, you've got myself, and then you'll see my direct reports. And with the MLK Rec Center now, the manager being Javian, we'll look to have him an assistant manager. We currently are in talks of bringing Tatiana will come over as the program coordinator, and we'll have another admin tech that's currently an employee with the city. One of my admin techs, we're still yet undecided on which one specifically. I have a couple that have shown interest and I think will be a great fit that'll permanently move over to that location, as well as 2 maintenance worker 3s that you see in there that are highlighted in blue. And what I wanted to share there was one of those came from the fire department that was already currently funded on the books, and one of them also came from public works. So I appreciate their support and helping making that possible. The other 2 maintenance worker 2s and that assistant manager position are those that we would still have to go out. We're working on their job descriptions right now. We'll work closely with Javian to kind of help build that book of clientele of candidates and help with the interview process. So they will help complement him. Part-time staff.
And let him choose his own.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm not a micromanager. We are very excited to let him kind of steer this ship the way he sees fit. He's clearly got a track record of success, and he's extremely humble, but he's got a track record of working hard to get to where he was. This is a guy that, just so everybody knows, came out of high school, didn't have a college opportunity to go play football, and went as a walk-on at Florida State. 2 years at Florida State, worked his way up, played how many games, Javian?
Only 6.
Only 6 games at the college level, guys, and wasn't going to take no for an answer. Rolled his sleeves up, grinded even harder, went to combines, I'm sure, went to camps, did everything that it took to go have a very nice career in the NFL. So not just show up, not just make a roster, not just have an opportunity, but played it. So he's a winner. We chose a winner. And so with this staff, I'm confident that we'll have a winner at MLK Rec, at the MLK Rec campus. So a couple more minutes here I want to spend just real quick. All the red asterisks are an indicator. Not only will Javian be supported by this kind of staff that he'll help build and support around him, he will also have the support of every one of my senior leadership members. So myself and my superintendent of maintenance, and he'll have my athletic program supervisor that currently takes care of all of our other sports locations. He'll have all of my city hall staff will also be at his service to help and support him in any way, and as well as anybody else that I know. I know Chief Smith has already shown his willingness. Chief Collier, Sean Self has already made comments. They'll do whatever they need to do. And all the directors. There's not been anyone yet that's not made a comment they would support us. So I just want to make sure and reiterate that as we go through. So on the next slide, this is just an example staff schedule. So don't get married to this. This was us building out. One of my staff members, Angie Bates, is a rock star. I will tell you that I've had employees my whole life being a self-employed. This is not something I built out. This is something that she was amazing. A couple of my staff members, when she was on vacation, we were working hard trying to make this make sense. And it was crazy. But Angie comes in here in about 2 hours. She whipped out a schedule because she's used to doing this and managing people this way and putting together a calendar like this. But this is an opportunity for us to just show to you, based on hours, how this kind of works. We intentionally left out the hours so that when you look down there, 494 total hours on your bottom right, what that does not show is a manager and a coordinator hours. We all know, I'll be honest with you. I probably currently at least work 60 to 70, 80 hours a week. I try to, and I don't shut off after those 60, 70, 80 hours. So I'm led by senior management that does the same. And so I expect the same. And they all know that I email through the night and will expect those same kind of responses from them. But realistically, I don't know their hour totals. I mean, I think they are committed to it being successful, and they know that this is a beautiful new campus that we are going to have to work really hard to get it on an idle mode to where we work hard to grow it and continue to work it. And so those two positions will be expected to grind with us. And the rest of that staff is hourly. And so we'll have to manage very tightly to make sure they understand their roles. But as you'll see down at the bottom of this page, the additional support from our current staff, I figure on a minimum average of 15 hours a week from myself and all those key red asterisk people from the previous page before, that we'll dig in and support as well where need be. So again, don't get too married to this. This was prior to Javian. This is prior to being able to share some things with Tatiana, because she also was a great candidate in that application process. And so we kind of developed some of these sample programs just to kind of show you a Monday, Sunday through Saturday programs that may or not be going on at a different point in time throughout the year. So simple concepts and different places throughout the facility that we kind of plugged in there. We will absolutely be rolling up our sleeves, going through this and coming up with our own models. But these are samples from other facilities, from Pensacola to Tallahassee to Ocala to thoughts, the things that we currently are doing now. So just an idea. And that is kind of a wrap. This is a picture that I took. I gave, as you guys might know, Mr. Scoop Waters worked for the city for nearly 30 years, retired from here. He was an operator of the old MOK Rec Center, and just love that guy to death, and loved that picture. This guy was in tears literally at different times as he walked that campus and see what the community has to play with over here. It was uplifting. And so thought it was fitting to bring him in, and can't wait to have my picture beside Javian moving forward and kind of making this next step. So I'll open it up to you guys now for any questions or comments or concerns.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Can you go back to the previous slide with the programming, the suggested programming?
Yes, sir. Hang on.
And this was an awesome presentation too. I should start there as well.
Thank you, sir.
This one, sir?
Yes, sir. I noticed pickleball. And so it kind of leads into a discussion of, I love that pickleball is on there. One mechanism to help fund ongoing this project would be charging for pickleball and having a lot, because an indoor facility will be hugely sought after, and you will have a waiting list for 15 years to reserve a court. And you may look at pickleball being a revenue source to offset some of the cost of running the facility, or we set some sort of priority of just programming in general to people of Panama City who are the people who pay for the ongoing maintenance and the programming of the facility, giving residents priority over the use of the pickleball and access to classes and all those kind of things. So that was just some feedback.
Yeah,
appreciate that. I will say, just so everybody's fully aware, background information. I've coached basketball for the last 30 years, so I spent a lot of time on a gym. One thing I didn't want to do with this court is muddy it up with lines all over the place. It can get too busy and be super chaotic. And so one of the things that we have made sure not to do is put every single, you can color code it, but I'm just telling you, it just can get so chaotic, especially given the fact that you have so many opportunities to change things up. But there are opportunities for us to tape out different areas, and it will not impact the floor. They've come a long way with that opportunity, and we'll exercise those rights. But I just wanted you guys to know that when you walk in that facility, you will not see pickleball painted underneath the finish on that floor. But we do offer pickleball. We can offer it outside on our outdoor courts. We can offer it inside. We can do different things throughout that facility. But I did want to make sure and be clear about that it's not a painted on court. I'm painting simply basketball and volleyball on and a walking perimeter potentially on the court. But that is all the painting that I will have permanently affixed to the basketball or to the wood floor.
Yes, sir, Commissioner Street.
Yeah, I would just echo on Alan's comment. I think that, there's one aspect of this is servicing the kids that are in our city and the residents that are here. It is a different proposition to try and fund everything outside of the city. And so I don't know exactly how that looks, but I know a similar issue has kind of been encountered with the Frank Bound Park that's out on the beach as far as from swimming. And so residents of Panama City Beach are, charged, or they have free access to those amenities. And then people that are outside of that, they do contribute to the overall cost. The idea is to try to create as much programming. And I think that's been great. But all that programming is going to come at a cost too. So anything that we can do to either create partnerships, have other participation, from either other government entities or as well as just other citizens that are outside of Panama City, I think is a great opportunity. It's no different than what we're looking at, whether it be for boat ramps or whether it be for, marinas or whether it be for, leagues, any of those things. I still believe that kids that are in our city limits, should experience the aspect of, hey, we're subsidizing this. But there may be an opportunity for other people to contribute to help us do more. So,
Yes, Commissioner, I agree with that completely. And we are absolutely already working very hard for partnerships. And quite honestly, I don't think they're going to be real hard to work with. We have people that are asking us for it. And to that point, I think a lot of people are going to want to partner with this young man that we have selected as our manager. So he's going to be contagious. As soon as they get an opportunity to meet him and be around him and his staff, I think they're going to be excited to want to be a part of what he stands for and what this place is going to offer. So I'm really excited. I don't think partnerships are going to be a problem for us to find that. Now, I'm very confident in that. And so I agree with you. I would love, I'm always looking for ways for us to be budget neutral. If I can find ways to eliminate our costs and find people without selling our soul, without giving up opportunities for our kids and our people and our community, I absolutely will look for those. I want to be very careful to not become dependent on partnerships to where we lose control of what we've built here and we lose the maintenance and the care because it's what's going to be very important to me is you guys have given us an amazing facility. This is literally going to be the nicest facility. To me, it's the nicest facility in the Panhandle. I mean, somebody's going to have to prove me wrong. Absolutely the nicest facility in our community. And so we're going to be held to a high standard to keep it that way. And so Javian's already got some really good ideas on how to make that happen and looking forward to those opportunities. And I appreciate your points.
All right. Before we close this down, any of the other elected officials, to any particular slide you'd like us to kind of jump back to or discuss in greater detail?
Just want to say thank you. This is certainly more put together and reassuring than the conversation we had a few weeks ago. Particularly, again, welcoming our new manager, but also seeing how the scheduling is planned. There's some thought into the programming and knowing that we have an opportunity now. I concur with you, Mr. Mefford, that we maintain control and not get so preoccupied with funding that we lose that control. And so that's not to say we don't have to be preoccupied with funding. We absolutely do. And this is exciting. Having visited the Ocala Recreation Center 2 weeks ago, I called Keith and I said, I've seen the future. Because just walking through the concrete building going up over these past 16 months hasn't given me the sense of what it will actually feel like when we get the keys in November. So now we just need to fill it with kids and adults and programs. So thank you, and thank you to the city staff for responding to our very serious concerns a few weeks ago.
Thank you. Commissioner Granger.
Yeah, so thank you for putting this together. Thank you for presenting it. I think it provides a very good overarching plan of what we're expecting to see here. I will say that there is I think an opportunity with the folks who like to walk inside in the morning. I think that we could roll out kind of a trusted partner program where a volunteer who's willing to come and unlock the building and kind of take responsibility for the people that are coming in and walking. I think that's an opportunity that we could probably explore and have a group of people who we trust to have a key to the building, you know what I mean, or gain access to the area that they'd want to walk in. So just throwing that out there, just you don't have to do it, but I think it's something we probably should explore just to see if there's some areas there where we don't necessarily have to have somebody in the building. So throwing that out there.
Yeah, to your point, Commissioner Granger, we already have some of those kind of scenarios throughout the city with other programs to where we have trusted individuals once they've kind of earned that opportunity, 55 and older. The card club, for instance, I mean, that group, they run themselves. We don't have to worry about them. We're trusted. We know it's going to be as cleaner when they leave than when they got there. And so you're exactly right. There's opportunities for us to have those right people that we know will be in there and that will help us. So yeah, that be something we'll definitely be looking for throughout the process.
Commissioner Hughes, you had your hand raised, sir.
I did. Thank you. I want to echo Commissioner Lucas on congratulations on the presentation, how we're gonna open it, how many people are going to work there. That was very good, and how you explain part-time versus full-time. Not very costly to the city. I think y'all did a really, really good job there, and I congratulate y'all. Javion, you don't know what you stepped into with working with Keith, but God, I bless your son, because it's going to be a full-time job keeping him going. So I do want to say that I remember when they used to have the volleyball leagues and the basketball leagues there. Will the league, I think we can do pickleball league. Will leagues be part of the income that help offset some of the expenses? Do we charge leagues, or is that a thing? I don't know.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so there's a way for the people we were talking about, the people outside of Panama City, maybe they join that league, and that there's their payment into, playing basketball or volleyball, whatever the case may be. I can tell you on the street, people are very excited about it. I want to play basketball. God made gravity for a reason for me. And so, but basketball, volleyball, everybody's really excited about that coming back. Especially with the artwork that you showed today in that presentation was really cool too. So exciting times, and I hope we can hit the November 7th and be there to cut the tape and open the doors. But congratulations, and looking forward to it.
That's awesome. I do want to make sure and reiterate, the November 7th is just a projected date right now. And so I know. You know how that moves. It moves around a little bit. And I just want to be very
Could be
cautious.
January 7th. You never know.
That's right. You never know. I'm sure prayed that it won't be, but it's anything that's
presentation
possible.
was going so well, Keith, up until this.
I know.
Right.
I know. I just had to clarify when Mr. Hughes said that he'll be there to cut that ribbon on the 7th. I just want to make sure. I was like, now hold on.
No, Miss Lucas will be cutting the ribbon. I'll be watching.
I'm sure Commissioner Hughes knows that on the day that you get the key is not the day that you actually have people over. So
Yeah. You're taking all the fun out of it there, Commissioner.
well, we got to plan a party, and this
right,
party
we do.
has got to be better than the groundbreaking. So,
This is true. This is true.
Yeah, that's a pretty high bar set for that. So, yeah. So, any other questions from the commission about the, the MLK Rec Campus, the plan, Javian and his role?
so
That
is
was
Javian officially at work?
he is Javian.
All right.
Yes,
We'll go to
he.
work.
We onboarded him unofficially this morning, and he'll sit through the full length orientation tomorrow with everyone else. But we wanted to be able to introduce him to the commission and also to the public in a very formal fashion this afternoon. And so we've been finalizing the presentation most of the day, and yes, he is already rocking and rolling for the city. So
Awesome.
Great job. Great hire. Congratulations.
I'll just say, we got almost 70 applications, and the team, very team driven process and looking at that, and we had a lot of wonderful candidates. I want to state that, with a lot of people that I think kind of really welcome the opportunity to have the opportunity to serve their community in such an important opportunity. Some folks from outside our area applied as well. But I think during the process, what Javian brought to the table and his passion for this became very clear to our interview panel, and they brought him to me at the end of that week of the interviews. And so again, we're excited for this opportunity, and absolutely believe that the city is blessed to have Javian join our team as one of the leadership team in the PCR department, with the specific role of, again, overseeing the day-to-day operations of the MLK Rec Campus. So
I want to say one more thing about Javian when we interviewed him that you guys will all appreciate, and I really like it. It hit us. It kind of made my hair stand up, and I think it did the same thing to I know I don't have much hair. God, don't give me that look. But what little bit of hair I got, it stood up.
Okay.
But what was really cool about what he said, something that was really cool to me, was regardless of the age of the individual that comes into the rec center, when someone drops their loved one off, young or old, that he wanted them to know that they were going to get developed. And so that really hit me in a different way. I don't know. It just coming out of him the way it did and when it did, it was just really cool, because it's what I've envisioned from this campus and this facility from the moment it's kind of evolved and I've seen it kind of come into life. That's what I envision. I want it to develop members of our community in so many ways. There's so many opportunities for everyone in our community to have an opportunity right here to just be better and to be developed in a way, whether you want to be sports or educational, whether you want to be a better cook or a better dad or a mom. There's tons of opportunity to learn something in this facility on this campus. And we're going to find every daggone partnership out there that we can do that and collaborate. And so I'm looking forward to that. And hearing him say that just ignited a fire in my belly when I got to hear it. So I'm looking forward to it. So
we have talked about kind of an inaugural event, and it would be Javian, Keith, myself, Brandy, and Nevin, the five of us versus the five elected officials in a full court basketball game. So
I'm shopping for
Great.
Reebok pumps right now as we speak.
So, all right. Any other questions or comments around this, or maybe anything broader about PCR and the department for next year? I know, we've had housing and community services. We've had fire. What's one of the other ones?
Those.
Okay.
Do police.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing police. So just as a quick September schedule. So obviously the first and third Mondays are when we do the virtual workshop. Well, the first Monday is a holiday, and the next day is the actual CRA board meeting. So won't be able to do two of them in September, but the third Monday will be the police department. So the mayor and I've talked about that, and so we get a presentation from Chief Smith in regards to his operation, also kind of some of his budget and plans for fiscal year 2026, and as always, ability to answer some questions and get down with the weeds with you all in regards to the police department. So, Commissioner Street, I see your hand is up, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to know. So, like, are you guys giving us an updated budget presentation, or is this been, a cost neutral proposal? That part I wasn't very clear on.
So with the presentation, with the org chart, it showed that there were several positions that were existing already. So those were already built into the budget that was presented. We did have, with the new positions, we did have funding that we had to come up with, but we were able to fund all of that and make it cost neutral within the PCR budget for next year. So it is as presented. The plan presented is budget neutral from the proposed budget that y'all have already received.
And Keith, if you could, I know you kind of, you and I talked earlier today about, obviously all of these employees aren't going to be there day one on, I won't make it November 7th, but by November 10th, probably,
Yeah.
There's going to be a kind of
A rolling effect.
a rolling
We
effect.
realize that there is going to be a kind of a phased approach in how these positions, I mean, we're not going to hire them all to start on the same day. We're going to have to recruit and, it may take a little more time to hire part-timers. Or we may be surprised and hire them quickly, but we acknowledge that may generate a little bit of savings for next year's budget as it takes to ramp up and hire the positions.
So-
Go ahead,
I
Commissioner.
just want to be clear. So is there anything that's been presented to us thus far that is not happening as a result of this change? Because I don't know if there is or isn't. That's why I'm asking.
Yes, I mean, we worked within the PCR budget that was presented to, we're not going to be doing some things that were included in the proposed budget that you already received, but instead of instead of us doing, for instance, cemetery maintenance in contractual services, we're moving that money from contractual services to personnel services to help fund these positions. That's an example of one of the things. We have proposed to put some outsourcing for cemetery maintenance in next year's budget. That's the first time we've outsourced it. But instead, we're going to try to look to volunteers to do cemetery maintenance. So that is one thing that we have shifted in next year's budget.
And Brandy, that's historically how it's been done. The bringing of that in house is, and it's proved to be very difficult. But we also realize that that is something that is important, and so that's why we want to try to kind of go back to kind of past practice and kind of working with groups. There is a cemetery board. Maybe that needs to be reevaluated and assessed and find teams. Sir,
They need to be alive.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Not that type of cemetery board, but we a lot of times in the past, from what I understand, we relied heavily on volunteers from both Tyndall Air Force Base and NSA Panama City as an opportunity for those military installations to provide kind of civic rent and community service within the communities that help serve and provide support to them. And so that's one example.
I'm supportive of the change. I just want to know what we're not doing that you guys have said we are doing so that we all understand expectations are set as far as that. I know we had started out going in with more maintenance being covered inside of your objectives. So if there's a reduction in that as a result of these changes, I just want to know that on the front side so I don't ultimately have an expectation that's unrealistic. And so that's why I'm asking. So if we could get some details on just what is changing from what you originally presented until now, and that doesn't have to be answered right now. I just want my expectations to be set, and I don't want to go out there saying, "Hey, we're doing more cemetery, maintenance because we got an outsourced contract." This is a good example. And then all of a sudden, oh no, we had reallocated that over to MLK. And so I just want to have that conversation on the front side from an expectations perspective.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we can address it now. We have the answer.
I can give you three really quick examples, sir, that we're working on. Cemetery maintenance was one of them. That was $150,000. I know that sounds like a ton of money, but that's about what Greenwood Cemetery costs a year to maintain. So just to give as an example, that's one thing that we had originally put in the budget. It had passed the first budget cuts, but then realizing the situation and what we needed to do, we decided to go this direction. Now, I want to stay there for just a second and tell you guys, so I'll give you a little bit of confidence. I do have a history with cemeteries, and I got an idea. And we've got a parks culture, or we got our parks committee, PRAC, that we've just had our first meeting with. And so as we start to develop some conversations, I've got some creative ideas of things that we can do potentially that, that I think can alleviate some pain from us and open some opportunities for a revenue stream for cemeteries, along with a cemetery board. To your point, you and I have talked about this before about the cemetery board. There's one or two of them, I think maybe just one that's still alive that was on that cemetery board potentially. So getting an active cemetery board is critical. And then we have been very absent with charging the appropriate fees for interments, for opening, closing, locating of graves. There's a lot of things that we can do to create a perpetual care fund that we could start off and fix some of our own problem. That's going to take time, but if we don't start now, it's going to take a lot more time. So we need to start with that process. I've got an idea that I think I can implement. So even though we're losing that 150 to help fund this personnel at MLK, I think if we roll up our sleeves and we're planning to, we can find a path to make that not be horrible. And so we'll come up with that idea. Another place was athletic field maintenance. When we originally proposed our budget and submitted our numbers, we were in the process of building out an RFP and putting that out on the street. The first pass of that, we originally estimated based on some feedback that we had got that could be in upwards of $250,000. Well, once that RFP went out and our quotes came back, they ranged from $96,000 to $200,000 or $230,000. And we selected the $96,000 one. We have confidence in that provider. They've already started it. We feel very confident that they can fix it. So that alone in our budget was $121,000 savings that we were able to pull back on. All right. So that was another place that we saved. The last one that's probably, I'll just be perfectly honest with all of you guys, and we all know, is snelling workers. We currently use snelling temp workers during our busy season for some of our maintenance, a lot of our locations. But in order for this to work and be budget neutral, we had to give that up. I had to give that funding source up, which is another $105,000 out of my budget from a part-time staff for next year. And so my hopes are that as we unwind, but I've got to put a budget together that I can't depend on what might be. I've got to lay out and say, this is worst case scenario. I need all of this funding for this number of people for this much money for a course of a year. Do I really think that it will take every one of these dollars? No, I don't. I think my existing staff and team will support. I think to your question, Commissioner Street, partnerships throughout the year will start getting stronger and better. And so that will weaken the need or lessen the need for some part-time. So you can start seeing their hours go down. I think as we start developing those programs and there's some fees, we start seeing a revenue where I can become neutral. I think that will kind of alleviate some of the cost. So yes, it will be the cost, but you also have the income that will come in. And so hosting tournaments, basketball, volleyball, different things that we can do at the location will create a revenue stream for sure. And so those aren't factored into this yet because we can't guarantee those things. But as we develop them, that will soften this need. And maybe by March or April next year, when we start getting in the busier grass really growing, we can bring on a couple Snelling workers. And as we see our budget has more room in payroll, we can maybe bring on a couple more. So yes, in the front, it shows that they don't exist to make this happen, but that's if the sky were falling. And I don't think the sky's falling.
So just a point of clarification. So is there any additional maintenance dollars going towards this year versus last year?
With these cuts.
There are some additional maintenance dollars going this year that are additional. Yes, sir. We were able to grow our funding as a department. I look at us as two funds, and almost and to your all's point tonight, when we developed our budget for Parks, Culture, and Rec, we asked for some increases that were granted to us from Jared and Brandy when we started our budget cut process. They were able to continue to leave things in for funding for this next year. And then above that, we had the MLK that I kept thinking kind of needed to be standalone in my eyes. I felt like it was kind of its own cost center. I felt like it needed to be looked at separately because it was its own animal, so to speak. And so to your point, yes, there are more dollars going to maintenance this year and availability than there were last year.
Okay. So do you feel like we're going to be address the issues that we continue to kind of have? So, and, a park doesn't get cut, or, we've had issues at Joe Moody. I've got him at Calhoun. I've had him on Beck. I've had him so I'm asking because what I've been walking through is like, hey, we're solving this problem. If it's still a problem, I just want to know that it's a problem. And I mean, that's really what I'm asking.
Yeah, Commissioner Street, I think it's very, very fair question. I do think it will still be a problem for our city to be able to provide maintenance sometimes in the parks and the locations that we're responsible for. But I will tell you that Jonathan and Public Works and Brandy and Jared has been committed to me that, there are things that happen. Give you an example, perfect example in CRAs. These state highway grants that we go after, and they take Millville, go over to Millville, for instance, at Whittington Park. If you've driven by there and you see how beautiful that location looks, that's a state highway grant product that's been put out on the paper for us, been put out on the street. It's a space we're responsible for. And they said, well, it's free maintenance for a year. Yeah, well, a year goes by pretty darn quick. And when it does, it becomes my team that's got to maintain that. And so that's a perfect example of who should bear that burden. And Jonathan and Public Works and Brandon Jared has told me that they will try to start pulling some of those things off and partnering with some of our right-of-way crews to take on some of those. Some of our right-of-ways down the middle of MLK Boulevard. We now have inherited an additional 1.5 miles of road up through there that my team's responsible for every one of those mulch beds and shrubs, streetscapes. Some of that falls on our plate. So we're going to work a little closer with, and we're going to work a little closer with DIB and the downtown CRA to kind of help soften that blow for us and the burden to take on some of that responsibility so that we can pull back on those locations and spend some more time at the parks, to your point, where we really should be focused, in my opinion.
And I'll just add, this is the main reason too behind why we requested and y'all authorized the PRAC, the Park, Realignment and Closure Committee, because, we feel that we probably have about twice as many parks as we really need. And so as we move into calendar year 2026 and start, bringing those recommendations to you all to kind of peel some of that burden off, that will, as we move forward, it'll incrementally reduce that demand. Hopefully, either at the beginning of or even before we start getting heavier into the growing season in April and May of next year.
So I want to point out two things. One, Keith, kudos on your presentation, because it was the first time that I've seen any department actually show the actual personnel cost of a facility. So you showing, hey, this is what my city hall staff is actually supporting for this particular facility is the first time I've ever seen an actual allocation that looks correct of how much it costs for us to operate a facility and do them well. And so I say that in a kudos, but I also say that and when we've got these facilities that are, whether it's Oakland Terrace Park, whether it's those things, we need to have an accurate view of what the cost is of that facility moving forward too, so that we see, hey, it's not just, we look at our budget a lot of times and we see, oh, this person's here listed this, and this is all that goes into supporting this specific piece. No, there's a supervisor, there's a support team, sometimes there's legal review, sometimes there's a lot of other costs that goes into doing something other than just the personnel that are hired to do that thing. So I think that was great to actually see that. And I think it was like MLK touches I think almost 30 people, I think, in your presentation. It was huge. It was massive. So, I mean, it was pretty impressive on how many people will actually have some type of input into that facility. The second thing I would say is hey, look, we're going through this budget process for this year, but we've also got to look towards next year. I don't want to be coming back and talking about we got to make a cut to a facility that we're staffing up for. And so, but I also don't want to have the conversation of, hey, we're not going to be able to maintain our parks at the appropriate level. So we've got a year to solve this, and it really needs to be solved. Right now, we're trading off maintenance to come and staff a facility, and I don't think that either one of them should suffer. I mean, we have parks that we've committed to have, and we're doing those. So within this year, we need to kind of have this problem solved, and that doesn't just mean more money. And so, there's got to be a creative way, whether that's, I know you've said your mausoleum idea, your interment fees, whatever those are, Keith, that makes the cemeteries operate and be maintained. We kind of got to get that solved this year. The same thing goes on right-of-way maintenance, and the same thing goes with the parks. If that means we're divesting of some parks, then we need to kind of have that done before we go into this next year's budget process. So I just want to make sure that, hey, I am supportive. I believe in this process that we're going through. I love what I've seen today. I just don't want to be in the same spot that we were in this budget process earlier. And we know what the issue is now. We know we're not going to have adequate dollars in maintenance. And we know that we need to fund these positions ongoing. And so those two things need to be solved before we get into next budget year, not during that budget process, if that makes sense.
It does. And Commissioner Street, to your point, I want to make sure you hear what in that presentation as you go back and look at it again, and you'll go through it. And I appreciate your compliments. Our staff worked really hard to do this, but I will say we heard the assignment when we were talking originally. I asked you guys for 12 full-time employees, and that was what was originally presented to you guys. I'm now bringing you at a higher rate, and I'm bringing you now a team of 19 employees with other supporting staff internally, and you're and we're less. And so the reason for that is, to your point, it wasn't just to solve for this year's problem. It was to Jonathan's kind of crawl, walk, run scenario, albeit we know we got to be ready to hit it early. So we're asking for more up front, and we can start weaning. It's a lot easier for me to look in the eye a part-time person that's, hey, I need to cut back your hours a little bit, because that's not that's not putting a whole family at risk. They're getting 8, 10, 12, 15, 20 hours of overtime or part-time work at the rec center. I could look at those people and start weaning their hours away as we become partners with other people in our community. So we originally asked for 12 full-time, and I was thinking about 6 part-timers, which was 18 staffers. We now backed that down and went 8 full-time and 11 part-time, giving me 19 staffers, so that I can start, to your point, by next budget year. My hopes will be, hey, maybe I need 8 full-timers for long-term, forever. And maybe I only need 3 or 4 part-timers, or maybe there's a way to make those costs neutral because it's the busy season during basketball and I need scorekeepers, or I need people doing this or that at different points in time throughout the year at MLK. But we will look for those partners to help pull back on the numbers that we need from this year. I will make and I will ask Javian to look really hard over this next year to bring me back a budget next year on how we can make this staff work, so that we don't need that we have the partnerships. To Commissioner Granger's point, we have, hey, instead of we have them bring in staff to run this thing for the first hour or 2 hours, maybe it's slow, but we don't want to just shut it down. We have a liaison, if you would, that's kind of that group that says, hey, we're going to open the doors. We're going to start the coffee. We're going to make sure that the walking track is open for people to come in. And maybe it's just one person that's automatically going to be in there as a senior staffer that's going to be there that day. But we don't have to have 3 or 4 people show up at 6 a.m., kicking on the lights and kind of kicking off the facility. So we will find that and we'll be able to solve some of that.
Commissioner Hughes?
I love having these conversations about how we're going to be saving for next year. What it does is everything that Josh was talking about and Keith just said is exactly what I think the public wants to hear from us, and that is, let's plan for it. We know we got a problem over here, and we don't want other people to suffer. And I think by having league we're going to have league income, we have other types of programming income. This budget issue, I think, is going to be it's going to be fluid for a little while. But the good news is there's going to be a line that says savings account, except it's going to be 4 deep because Nevin makes it be four things long. And that's really cool because it'll take some heat off of Javion of having to come up with, who's the right staff or not. I think at the end of the day, I think income is going to be good enough because people are going to be so excited that it's going to really help our budgeting process, to Josh's point, next year. Because remember, Commissioner Street, I was trying to fix the problem this year, but we need next year as well to make sure that we move forward. And I think your approach is very good, Keith. Having somebody there on a volunteer basis, there's a lot of volunteers out there that want to help, especially the youth. And we can certainly, while not using it or abusing it, we can take the good from it and really help out the opening of MLK. So congratulations on that. But thanks.
Thank you. Oh, Mayor's on it. Look at him.
Yeah. Alan, Mr. Mayor,
I'm
a
good.
penny for your thoughts.
No,
I know.
that was great.
I know the mayor is actively searching for a new pair of high tops, and still trying to get back from high school when I smoked him. He wants a chance to get even.
Jonathan, I think you might have scored 4 points that whole year.
That was in one quarter.
No, that wasn't. No, it was a great presentation. A lot of thought went into it. I'm excited about the plan for the cemeteries to generate some money to pay for themselves. So echo the same thoughts.
All right. And that's really all we have. I mean, we're a little bit ahead of schedule. I don't know if there's anything else we want to jump into, Mr. Mayor, or we've got Nevin is here as well, off to the side to Brandy's right. So any questions for him? He's here and available.
I mean, if we're going to play a basketball game, I'll trade Josh for Nevin.
Oh, shots fired.
I've heard
Nevin could drain a 3-point back in the day.
No chance because Nevin's going to bird dog. He's going to stay down on the other end. I'm just going to throw him the long ball for the score. He's not going to play defense. He's already told me that. He never has. So.
If I never play with you, I will never disappoint you. So I hope it doesn't happen.
Hey, Javion, how long you been back in town?
I just moved back here June, actually, from Orlando.
Right on time.
Looks a little different than last time you were here, huh?
Looks a lot different, but look forward to it though.
I'll take Javian on my team.
All right.
He's staff. Yeah. So.
Jonathan, you often tease me about not knowing movies. There is one that comes to mind now. I'll just let you all guess which one I'm thinking about. It's a basketball movie.
Yeah.
I can jump just fine.
I cannot, Commissioner Street, so I'll just be the ball boy.
There you go. So.
Lynn Haven does charge for pickleball, so it'd be interesting to talk to Ty Ferris to see what sort of demand there is and if it could be a revenue generator. Even staying open late past 10 o'clock. I mean, pickleballers are a special kind of folk that they They descend on pickleball courts like no other. And so
Yeah.
it'd be interesting to even have extended hours if it actually truly generated revenue outside of hours to pay for staffing. That'd be interesting.
I'm actually going to ask a question and channel my inner Alan Branch and kind of put Keith on the spot. What is the plan with the Oakland Terrace tennis courts, in the next 6 to 12 months? And how can we, I know you and I've kind of talked about some back of the napkin numbers and the need to almost kind of mill and resurface to some degree. But I know that I've seen plans for redoing the surface of those tennis courts so that the city actually has, a tennis facility that folks can be jealous of, as well as, some additional outside basketball, kind of more over the west and central part of the city.
So being put on the spot, I'll answer it like this.
Be gentle.
I will. Yes, sir. So the reality of it is this. When I came to Panama City about 2 years ago now, they were just installing. They were about halfway finished with the orange and blue Florida Gator court that went in at Oakland Terrace. I didn't select it. It was already going in place. So.
I didn't select it either. I think Brandy probably did.
All right. So when they did that, they took away, there used to be 6 tennis courts. And I think 5 is what is necessary. 5 is pretty normal. That's a good sized tennis court facility that allows you to do what you need to do for a competitive high school tournament or whatever you'd have to do. So here's my thinking. When they put the orange courts down, they put 2 pickleball, 4 tennis courts, and we have since we had changed the basketball layout on the outside. We resurfaced the basketball court. On the outside, we put 2 new goals up. We painted that court, did a really nice court. We painted 2 new pickleball courts the other direction in replace of an old basketball court, because we will be adding basketball outside at MLK. We've added basketball outside at Daffin. And I'll be adding it at other places where I can. But my point is, we've just fenced that area in. We're planning to go into phase 2, which I'd shared with you, which is going to involve taking up some of that plastic court. I don't currently know the true condition of that court. When people say, oh, it's shot, it's gone, you can't do this, it was dangerous, we shut it down, because I've just never seen it. So I'm going to take it up. I'm going to, one of the pickleball ends, I'm going to start there. I'll leave the tennis court in place for the moment, because there will be 2 pickleball courts, as there were, out on the new basketball court area. And so no one will be losing anything at this moment. I will see the condition of that court. Once I have that condition understood, where I know what it is, it's my understanding there is a concrete base and an asphalt cap. The concrete base is what has given out and is cracked. And so what happens is you go in there and cap it. No one's willing to come in and cap it and warranty it and guarantee it, because it just continues to deteriorate. So to completely, you can't mill it and resurface it. You need to come in, remove it, and replace it. I will tell you right now, that's probably a $400,000 to $500,000 project. So with that in mind, I have asked Ashley from Langton. We are getting ready to meet when I come back here. My family's getting ready to go out of country for a couple weeks. When we come back, I'm going to get with Ashley to see if we can come up with a grant.
For the benefit of the public, who is Langton?
Langton is that is our grant writers that the city uses, that we contract with. And they're amazing at finding money. And so I need to establish how much money I will need. Can it be just repaired for $150,000, $200,000? Does it need to be completely replaced? All new fence, all new court? I need to find those things out. And I just don't know to be able to give everybody an educated, because they're currently hidden underneath these plastic sports courts that have not held up considerably well, to be honest with you. Commissioner Street, you got your hand up.
Yeah, so I was part of that original project. So I will tell you exactly how you described it, what's going on. The base is cracked. And so even if you cap it, it's just going to crack eventually. And so they had done some filler points and things like that. So if you remove the temporary courts, what it's going to do is you're going to be left with a project that you got to finish. So that's one of it. And so the only thing, I like your number better than the number I got, which was a couple of years ago, which was $1 million because they wanted to stormwater it. There was this thing, well, if you got to tear it up, then you got to stormwater it.
Yeah.
He's gonna hit.
Like all of that stuff was going into it. I think
We'll have you run the excavator,
Yeah.
sir.
yeah, exactly. I'll get out there with you. We'll hit the park it and we'll get. So,
John was having a panic
I
attack.
think
We
so.
can't do that
Yeah.
right
Well,
now.
elected officials, we follow. Yeah, they will follow the rules. It's all good. It's all impervious right now. I don't think we need any kind of stormwater stuff. So, and if we do, we will work.
How you described it, Keith, is exactly what exists underneath it. And so the current stuff, although it's not great, it is better than what was underneath it. Now that section that you're talking about, I don't remember specifics, but I do remember. I mean, there's some cracks that are a good 3-4 inches wide.
Well, but here's what I will share. I will share that when I take that sports court up, I can put it back down. I'm not going to destroy it. I can take it up. I can evaluate that a little bit. I could potentially repair a section and buy us some time. There is a process that we can implement. We actually, if like I said, you go look at the basketball courts we just did. There's a process there that you go through. Our in-house team has worked really hard to understand that process. We may or may not be able to do that. I can't commit that we can, but maybe we can do that. Maybe we have to go right back to the sports court and buy us some time and start planning to save that. Maybe this year, next year, I can find $100,000 to put aside and do that for a couple of years. It's not what the community wants, but until we find a path or a grant comes along that we can solve it, if you already know the answer and we know that the base is doing what it's doing, I don't recommend band-aiding it too awfully bad. I can't throw good money at bad. So,
Well, I like your idea on phasing. I mean, that wasn't something that was considered. So maybe there's a way to do it a section at a time, and you just make your cutoff seam points and you go down the line. So, I mean, like that was an option that wasn't considered. So go for it.
Okay. Yeah. And I'll just add, since that time, we've also had, some additional staff. Our engineering team has a lot more capabilities than it did a few years ago, both with talent and personnel, as well as with equipment. So I think there's a way to kind of have a conversation about, ways that, again, that Public Works might be able to support PCR in this particular area.
Just get John Cantu on that team. So
I'll let you reach out to him, sir. Commissioner Hughes, see your hands up?
Yes, sir. Thank you. So I reached out to my good friend Thomas Dobbins, who owns Panama, the swimming tennis club up on 390, and talked to him I was asking about Rosenwald, and I talked to Janice about it, as he just got done resurfacing some courts up there when the state bought some property from him. It is correct that when the base is cracked, if you just fill in the cracks, they will crack again. But he said that there is a material that you can, I'll call it a cap, but you put over top of it and that you will not see any more cracks before you paint before you do the finished product of the court. So there is a way to do that. Now his number, using the cap, using the membrane that goes over top of that, he was somewhere between $7,000 and $9,000 a quart. Okay, that's finished. And so my thought was on Rosenwald, I was just going to try to get a number and try to raise some money from some local businesses. But then what he did is he put me in touch with the USTA, and they have a program just for schools that they started back in 2023. And so I have a phone call with the person that he worked with before is retired, but they put me in touch with somebody else, and I have a phone call with them this week just to get an idea of the program and how can they help. So it's more for the school, but I think I'm going to get some really good information on a real cost per court. But if we're talking, let's just say $10,000 a court. Now there's more court to the Oakland Terrace than there on the outside. USTA, not DA, Alan, tennis. But remember, I sound like Darth Vader. And so there's more outside court that has to be redone. But let's just call it $60,000 a court. I mean, $10,000 a court. That's $60,000. I'm thinking we can be in and out of that thing for $80,000, if the numbers, and he just resurfaced. So these are real numbers on resurfacing a court. He even used blue, which is more expensive. So I just figured asking the tennis guy if he had any insight to it, and he'd be more than happy to come out and help us out. On just as a friendly consultant, just a local guy, not looking for any money, just come out and give us some advice. So I just thought that'd be helpful and I think that those courts over there are not in great shape. We've tried playing pickleball on them a couple of times over on Oakland Terrace. But I would say let's try to figure out a way to pull that up and resurface, especially if these numbers are going to come in where I'm looking at right now. Could we find 60 or 70 grand?
I don't know where, sir. I will say this though, real quick. One thing that's really important for everyone to understand, something that happened at Oakland Terrace, when they put this sports court in, pre-me, I'm just giving you an example. They cut all the posts off. So all of the posts are cut off subsurface or at surface, and then they put these courts over top of them. That's an expensive venture right there in itself. And so same thing, if I remember right, I went by Rosenwald. Now I will tell you, Rosenwald's courts, I'm just being straight up, at Rosenwald, I feel very confident that the courts themselves can be deep cleaned, minor crack filling, and resurfaced like what we did for the basketball court at Daffin and like what we did at the basketball court and pickleball court over at, I bought a little striping kit. I've done it before. And so I taught my team how to do it. And we just did Oakland Terrace. So I'd encourage you to go check out our pickleball and our basketball court at Oakland Terrace. Look what that looks like on that new asphalt. You can put this down. You put a fiberglass mesh. You can take care of some of your cracks. It will last a good while and then resurface it. But the posts are very expensive. Putting those in, and when they've cut them out, Oakland Terrace is big enough that we could shift because there's a massive concrete base that those posts would have been in. So I could shift those courts to the right, or to the left so that all those posts would be new locations. But you got to shift them enough that in the center courts where they're 6 feet apart, that you don't just move it 6 feet and pick up the next post at the other spot. I explain that more later. But the point being, it is tricky. It's a little tricky. The other thing that's going to be expensive at Rosenwald is you need a 10-foot fence all the way around there. The fence was removed. And so you can't just play tennis out in the wide open. You got to have a fence. The fence for that facility is probably going to cost you, I'd say 80 to 100 grand. It wouldn't surprise me if you didn't put 80 to 100 grand in a tennis court fencing all the way around that tennis court at Rosenwald. So not only are you talking about the resurfacing and such, you're talking about that as well. So just keep that in mind. I think they've cut all your posts off. Fencing's gone at Rosenwald. And they've also cut all the posts off at Oakland Terrace. So we've got rolling temporary kind of nets for tennis nets and pickleball nets at Oakland Terrace currently.
And Bay District School is using Langton Ashley for their grant writing consulting as well now. So she's been helping them with some grant opportunities. So maybe we can do both.
Yep.
Anything else? All right. Mr. Mayor, I think we're good. All right.
All right.
Thank y'all.
Thanks,
you, guys.
everybody.
Thank you all.